The Philadelphia Eagles are really cold right now. They got blown out by the Dallas Cowboys. They got embarrassed by the 49ers the week before. This team, though, is still good enough to win it all, and they still can win it all. Like, look, yeah, they looked unimpressive the last couple of weeks. They definitely haven't played their best football, but let's not forget, they still got wins over the Miami Dolphins, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Buffalo Bills. And you can say, well, the Chiefs and Bills aren't as good as what we thought they were. Okay, that's agreeable. But let's not forget they also beat Dallas the first time they played. Now, they didn't dominate Dallas like how Dallas just dominated them. But this is still one of the most talented teams in the NFL. And they're a 3-loss team. And people are making it seem like the fall is falling. Or the sky is falling, excuse me. They making it seem like the Eagles are one of the worst teams in the NFL. Like, look, Jalen Hurts is a great player when it comes to overcoming adversity. His level of play has definitely dropped off this season. Nobody's denying that. He still has played really good football in the fourth quarter when it matters the most. And that's what you expect out of a franchise quarterback. I feel that Jalen Hurts' injury problems that he's been dealing with this season has been a large reason for why his play has went off the rails a little bit. But you look at the Eagles' last 4 games, you got the Seahawks on the road, the New York Giants, the Cardinals, and then the Giants again. Those are games that should be easily winnable. You should be able to still have opportunity to get that 1 seed, get that first round bye, get Jalen Hurts healed up, and hopefully you can have him at 80, 90% come the divisional round. But even if you can't hold on or find a way to win the 1 seed, Jalen Hurts in these next 4 games, he should be able to gain more confidence, and his offense should be able to get back into rhythm. Like this offensive coordinator that they have that Eagles fans want fired, like he isn't great, but I still think that there's some growing pains that have to be worked out. And you can't put it all on the play caller when Jalen Hurts simply hasn't been as good as what he was last season. At the end of the day, when you got a great quarterback, he makes anybody calling the plays look good. This defense, the secondary, James Bradbury and Darius Slay, they just look old and washed at times. They're not terrible, but they definitely aren't playing at the high level that they were last year. And not just them, but the whole entire Eagles secondary hasn't played good this season. The strength of Philadelphia has been their defensive line. We know that they've dealt with injuries when it comes to linebacker. They just signed Shaq Leonard, so we're going to see how he's going to be able to come in and improve that defense. But losing 2 of your top coordinators to head coaching jobs, you definitely knew that it was going to be a little bit of a concern how the replacements were going to do. But there's been moments when this defense has looked really good and they've made big plays and they've been able to come out on top and get some big time stops. Like against Kansas City. There's been moments when this offense has been able to play at a high level, whether it be in the fourth quarter of games, despite not playing good the first 3, it doesn't matter. This offense has still looked really productive at certain moments. And it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. Right now, the Eagles are starting to finish off really sloppy. This is a team that's really tough, and they're really good at battling through adversity, and they're going to figure this thing out. They're way too talented for them to get written off. Yeah, I'll probably have more confidence in the 49ers making it out of the NFC than Philadelphia, but I'm not taking Dallas over them. We know that Dallas is a good regular season team. We know that the Cowboys are always insanely talented, and they're good enough to win it off nearly every season. But I'm not going to trust them in the playoffs compared to Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia. I don't care if they lost to them in the regular season once. Philadelphia beat them once. We seem to forget that. And Dallas didn't perform in that game in the late moments of that matchup. Dallas is a team that I question how good they are in close games. And in a close game against Philadelphia in the playoffs, I trust Philadelphia. Now, I don't know about the 49ers, but I doubt that Philly is going to get crushed by San Francisco for the second time in the season with how talented they are and the kind of leadership that they have on that team, in that locker room. I think that people are counting out the Philadelphia Eagles way too soon just because they're 2 straight losses that look really ugly to the top teams in the NFC. I'd rather lose in the regular season than lose to these same teams if I have to go up against them in the playoffs. The Eagles are way too good of a team to get blown out by the Cowboys and the 49ers twice in the season. You see, when it comes to NFL media, people change their opinions like the wind. Okay, it's like a week-to-week thing. Every single week, there's a new number 1 team in the NFL. But I've stayed firm on my take that the Eagles and the Ravens are going to be the 2 teams that we see in the Super Bowl. The Ravens had a stretch where they weren't playing their best football. The Eagles have kind of had a season when they looked a lot similar to how Minnesota did last year, winning a lot of games closely, having to come from behind a lot of times. But you can't deny the talent that's on this team. And I would love to see them face the Cowboys and the 49ers again in the playoffs because I feel those games will go much differently. When you have a team this talented, it's hard to see them getting blown out the way that they did twice. And I can see this team getting revenge on both San Francisco and Dallas if they see them again in the playoffs, because I believe that they're going to have a month of football where they're not playing against great teams anymore, and they're going to be able to figure things out. Philadelphia had a gauntlet of a schedule. They had to go against the Dolphins, the Bills, the Chiefs. It was a tough stretch. And despite the fact that they've lost 2 straight, this is still one of the best teams in the league, and they just had a tough schedule this year. We knew that things were going to be a little bit difficult for Philadelphia this year. It wasn't going to be smooth sailing. Just like Dallas has a really tough schedule. But Philadelphia has beaten numerous good teams this season. And them losing to 2 other good teams this year doesn't change how I feel about them being able to make it to the Super Bowl. They still have a really talented roster. Nick Sirianni is still a really good head coach. And they got a really good pass rush. And the fact that Dallas normally folds in the playoffs under Mike McCarthy consistently, I still would take them over Dallas if they rematch in the postseason. And I still think that they could pull off a win against the 49ers if they see them again.